Happy Friday, day after D-Day. Dan here with news that doesn't suck. And I came across a story that I just could not share. So today we have memories of one sergeant. Bartlett pastor recounts his World War II service. He remembers good, bad of his experiences, how happy he was to come home. Dina Amro. Bartlett World War II veteran still hears the roar of automatic weapons, the wailing of injured comrades, and the cheers of going home more than 70 years after he served. William Sidney Crawley, 95, sat back in his wooden chair and scratched the Memorial Day cloth covering the table. He paused for a bit and then started sharing his World War II memories. Crawley served from March 43 until March 46 in the 102nd Infantry Division, Ozarks, earning the rank of Technical Sergeant. He said his intentions were to aid in France on D-Day, the invasion of Normandy, on June 6, 1944, but he was delayed for training. His unit ultimately made it to France in September of 44, moved into Germany and went from the Ruhr River using plywood boats they built into the Rhineland. Crawley's war memories include watching a pontoon bridge explode, his friend's near-death experience, walking onto a minefield, finding a barn filled with remains of 1,016 burned humans, and his favorite, returning home. Quick break. One of the reasons that it's so important to remember, or actually it's so important and it's so easy for us to remember World War II, is that regardless of what you think and feel about everything that's happened in the last 100 years, it is very easy to argue that we were there for a reason, that just normal, everyday humans, normal, everyday people came together and joined the army, joined or were conscripted, and went and helped to unrest an entire continent from somebody's hands. And I mean, if you go over Normandy right now, and you will see dedication to everybody that I think they call them their saviors, everybody that came and saved them. Again, regardless what you think and feel, they were doing God's work over there, or however you want to call it. They were doing good work over there. He also transferred prisoners of war into the Nuremberg trials by a boxcar. He said he and some of the other men kept their eyes on them and breathed a sigh of relief once they reached Nuremberg. When we got them to Nuremberg and they called roll, they were all there. Praise the Lord, I was glad to get rid of them. I was up to the Elbe River, Crawley said. That's where we met the Russians. There were rifles all piled up along the riverbank where they surrendered. They didn't want to surrender to the Russians. They surrendered to the Americans. The German people, they were good people. They had just been fooled by a dictator. He got control, and once he got control, there's nothing they could do. After the war, Crawley made his way back home and decided to lay low for a couple of months until he began working again. He said he was grateful to see his family and his home. Crawley said throughout his service he persistently prayed, "If you get me out of this mess, I'm going to be a better person when I get back home." About a year after his discharge, Crawley married his love, and 3 years later they had a baby girl. Crawley eventually became a Baptist minister in Bartlett, retiring after about 50 years. He now lives in Bartlett with his daughters, Debbie, and recently celebrated his 95th birthday. I guess there's not really much I can add to that. Did you guys contemplate what yesterday meant? Have you realized anything this year? Or do you remember something every year D-Day comes around? Have a better than good day. I'm Dan. Remember, your news doesn't have to make you sad if you listen to news that doesn't suck.